It's Tuesday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. YK in the building.
Yo, good morning.
You've been gone for 2 whole weeks.
2 weeks, yes. My partner lost his brother. And I was very close to him. I was actually, you know, he called me. If I didn't call him, he would call me, in school. You don't want to come, you know. I spoke to him on the Saturday before he died. You know, wow. And, you know, he was saying, thank you for calling, thank you for, take care of yourself. So I was wondering, because he would never really rush me off the phone. Yeah. So I called his wife and I said, Funke, she could see. She said, no, maybe he's on oxygen. Monday morning.
Oh, wow.
I haven't even really had the urge to exercise like before. Was it in Nigeria? Because I was also so depressed.
Was it in Nigeria?
Abuja. He owned Zankli Medical Center. And you know, he did the honorable thing. He didn't go to his hospital and because he could afford it now. He went to the isolation center. And his wife had complained that he was dehydrated because she too is a doctor. He's dehydrated, so she was planning to move him the day he died. Oh my Lord. In fact, the story is just so sad. I lost
the party at Uncle's party. Was it last year?
Yeah, okay, you met him.
I was at his table.
Very lovely man.
Very nice.
Very lovely. Very so we're burying him this weekend.
May he so rest in
so
peace.
It really made me sad. It really made me sad.
One death too many.
Too many people are dying. I heard my partner lost his classmate and brother on Thursday or Friday. Wow. And you know, it is the same COVID. It's the same thing that is killing everybody. It's not everybody that's going to tell you that it's COVID that killed them, but just be rest assured. If you hear of 80 deaths, 78.
This is your figures.
Okay.
I went to see somebody yesterday. He said that he lost his sister, then he lost his mother-in-law, and now a friend within 1 week. Within 1 week. Sister, mother-in-law, and a friend.
Can you imagine? Sister, mother-in-law, that kind of person. If I was that kind of person, I would just down tools. I would not even step out of my compound again. Because you don't even know who is carrying it. Right. Really, you know? Even me, I'm like, because I'm in the age of...
Yeah, that range.
I'm almost 60.
But you're healthy.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Anything could just, happen within a short time.
You know?
Anyways, we're grateful. We thank God for it. 2020 is a year to remember. It's just like we just have to just thank God.
We should everybody just pray that we make it to 2021. That is the prayer that we are praying now. Don't pray for money or anything. Just pray, God, let me just live to 2021.
I'm fine. In the midst of all of the mourning and everything happening at home, I must just appreciate my husband and my brother's wife. I usually call her my sister because we don't have an in-law. My dad didn't allow in-lawship within the house. She's such an amazing person. It's my week to stay with my mom. You know, my mom has to be in the 4 months, 10 days waiting period after her death of my dad. 4 months or 40 days? 4 months and 10 days. So this is my week to be with her. I had to run out of the house yesterday because of rice orders for the layer. And I was just saying to her, make sure your husband stay with my mom because someone has to sleep with my mom in her room. And this morning when I called, she again, with all the weight of the things that she's dealing with, is the one. My mom keeps talking about her in such glorious terms, and I keep wondering, is it one human being? That girl is just amazing. And this morning, with 2 children, all of that, she stayed the night with my mom. I just must say thank you to her. And my husband for doing everything about the rice order. I'm just making sure deliveries go, but someone is seeing to all of that for me because of the weight of things I'm dealing with. My kids have not seen me in a few days, some days. The last time my son held the door at 1 a.m. He went to stay at the door. I'm going to go anywhere with you. I said, it's 1 a.m. I'm not leaving. But I'm going to run out of the house again, go back to my mom's place for the 2 weeks I'm supposed to be there.
You know,
so family support.
She needs that.
You're not taking your children with you?
No, I have to take them back now when I'm going back because my son is not dealing with it easily.
You need
just be careful. Always be careful. Yes. Unfortunately, we have to go on a break now. When we come back, we go through the front pages of the papers. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Okay, we're going to start with the Punch. NUT insists on PPE. Others, as SS3 pupils, resume August 4th. Subscribers accuse Lagos real estate firm of scam. Man sentenced to life imprisonment for defiling Ekiti's 6-year-old girl. Reopen Funsho Williams murder probe, Bode George tells Buhari. Ekiti Attorney General, other cabinet members test positive of COVID-19. Banks non-performing loans now 1.2 trillion naira, says CBN. Buhari names railway stations after Awolowo, Osinbajo, Tinubu, and others. Okay, picture here of 3rd Mainland Bridge being fixed. Okay, so let's start with this Lagos real estate story. Who has it?
Yeah. The name of the company, Brickwall Global Investment Limited, had approached buyers that they had this land and they would pay 1,104,000 to get the land to the company. So they approached this lawyer. I think he was a lawyer. No, he wasn't. Sorry. They approached this guy. They came to his office and he paid for the land in 3 installments. And every time he paid, he would say, he wants to see the land. They would say, no, you can't see it until you pay your full. So when he paid the full, he said he had to pay another 30,000 for something else.
You didn't see an agreement, Abi?
When he paid it, 2016, he started waiting. So now, his wife too paid. So between the two of them, over 2 million. They haven't got the land. And
others too.
And it was when he started looking for his land that he now started investigating and finding out that other people.
And I know that Lagos State had tried to set up this, I think the special advisor to the Lagos State government, Toke Benson, has been on this matter of ensuring that every company is registered under them. So if you are paying, you know they know you are paying to, and you can trace
through Lagos State before you start
all these payments. So you can trace and know, be sure that this person you're paying to is a legit company. But
I even appreciate that, you know, such transactions are investigated by the EFCC. A lot of them. Yes. So man, this brick wall is big, so we can know. A lot of them that, you know, people keep coming and will write. They won't even respond. I've written on behalf of some clients. They won't even respond. So we're suing. Suing them, and you can hardly find them.
Brickwall, to defend themselves, said, they had got the allocation of 50 acres.
Okay.
And then the people that...
they got oversubscribed.
They got oversubscribed because, no, they only gave them 5 acres.
So
they now told the people that bought the land in Egni that, no, come to this place. And this one, no, we paid for Egni. You know, but they don't have the land to give them, so that please, so at least, and they say have patience. Patience, go.
At least they responded.
Charity.
Let's take the major headline, NUT. Let's talk about the classes being resumed.
WAEC, exiting students will be writing their WAEC in August, and schools are supposed to resume August 4th. Exam will start by August 17th. The body is saying that it's giving the students 2 weeks to prepare for the exams. The NUT is happy. Teachers are happy, a lot of other bodies are commending them, but the NMA is worried that the Nigerian medical practitioners are worried that how would these children be prevented from the pandemic that we're in right now? I pray that whether they write the exams or not, we're all alive at the end of this whole issue to use the degrees and certificates that we get.
I just pray or hope that people actually realize that you're in a war situation right now, war without guns. Now, the question I will ask all the people that are begging to go back to school is, if it was a situation where they were throwing bombs, bim, 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 and you were hearing the bomb, will you send your child to school? If you will not send your child to school in that situation, why do you want to send them to school? Because, you see, the thing is, the child might overcome it, but you, the parents, well, my brother's son's friend, his father just died day before yesterday. Do you know how I'm hearing of this death?
So the thing
couldn't breathe.
According to many of the what they discussed, I hear you. The schools are not being open. Let's just make sure that people are knowing. Only the exit classes are just going to prepare for the exams. After the examinations, they go right back home. So schools are not being open at all. However, people are worried that will the children be able to pass? I hope we don't have mass failures because they haven't been around. They haven't been in school for 2 months.
Those are parents worried.
But on the schools part, they're saying that they've actually finished their classes before the lockdown. So what they'll be doing right now is reviews. We'll see what happens. Let's move on to The next paper, The Nation. NMA kicks as government asks exit class pupils to resume August 4th. We discussed that. PTF, why we can't lock down high-risk Lagos councils. DSS warns on plots to subvert country. Health workers got 15.8 billion naira hazard pay in 4 months. And court upholds school supervisor 60-year jail term. Okay, so which story are we taking? Okay,
so the PTF, the National Coordinator for the Presidential Task Force, has said that, certain 11 high-burden local governments in Lagos cannot be locked down because of their economic value and commercial value, even though they are high risk presently and they are the highest in the records of the COVID patients that we have. But because of, commercial activities, they cannot lock it down. That's basically what he was trying to say about those local governments. Okay. And I say that you people simply don't have a strategy. If you were locking it down, were you going and doing random testing of people? Were you going, do you have a capacity to hold people, to treat people? You don't. So, for that, and you can't even feed people. There's no palliative for people who will stay home. So you're simply just leaving people to help themselves, it's immunity. And it's very, very unfair. I
was going to take the story on the DSS, so the Defense Headquarters. So the Defense Media Operations Coordinator, Major General John Enenche, has issued a warning yesterday, and he was reminding soldiers on the oath of allegiance to the presidency and to the country. And he was reacting to some newspaper headline that said something about Nigeria needs Rawlings now. And it was being spearheaded by Chairman of National Democratic Party, Chidi Chukwanyi, who was saying that we needed that Rawlings operation that happened in Ghana. And he was saying, listen, this can lead to mutiny, anarchy, and the soldiers should remember that they actually pledge allegiance to the presidency and to the federal government of Nigeria and should not take these kinds of statements seriously. Okay, you want to talk about the hazard allowance?
Yes, do you have that story? The Minister for Labour was talking about 15.8 billion spent between February and May on hazard allowance for health workers only in federal medical centers, federal teaching hospitals, and some private hospitals that are known for treating, that are being used for treating COVID, and that that the federal government has cleared, trying to defend, the accusation about not paying, trying to defend that. Okay. Yeah.
Daily Sun, very quickly, FG makes U-turn on school resumption. Okay, it's August 4th. Obiano suspends traditional ruler. NDDC probe Akpabio senators at war. COVID-19 FG plans summit to verify researchers' herbal cure claims, and Kalu Oji Uzo Kalu returns to Abia in a rousing welcome. Remember, he was. let's not even go there. But let's talk about NDDC because we're running out of time. What's the NDDC? Let's talk about NDDC.
So NDDC, the letter written by the Minister for Niger Delta Affairs was read and names mentioned, monies flying and amounts mentioned, millions of nairas paid, senators, areas. In fact, all the states under the NDDC, Edo, Bayelsa, Delta, are areas where these people came from and that they've gotten paid. I have the figures, I'm looking for it. And some of the names, I can remember Gedom getting about 660-something million. Nwabushi getting some amounts of money. I don't want to expect that, with these figures mentioned, because when it was read, they did not read the names for us in the House of Reps. It was later we were hearing the letter included names. But he has responded his written names, and the rights body, independent body, expected to investigate and prosecute if anybody is found wanting should be allowed to do the needful. Not the
House of Reps that will do it by themselves.
But the addressing the reporters, Chairman Senate Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Public Relations, Senator Ayo Akinyelure, has said that the allegations are unfounded and they're sheer blackmail. So we'll see how that goes, and we'll find out what they...
Should we call some of the names?
They're in the papers. Go ahead.
Okay, you can read
There's also from Ondo. Don't
read it in the Tribune.
Ondo and Edo Reps.
Ondo and
I didn't read the stories, but please, I'm going to buy some on my way out.
Just Tribune with the amounts.
Obiano, you want to take Obiano? Should we move on to...
Obiano, just like other states, has suspended for a year the traditional ruler of Ukulu, an area in Anambra State, for what he considers political activities. This person they're arguing about zoning of governorship and And based on his affiliations, he's been suspended.
Oh, let's talk about, sorry.
With these traditional rulers, do I have time to talk about it? Is that it's the vestiges of colonialism that is doing us. Because it was the colonialists that came that now lorded it over and suppressed our traditional rulers. That is why governors will now do like this and suspend the traditional ruler. Come on, they are our traditional rulers.
We have to run off, unfortunately, but I wanted to tell us to take this story in actually all the papers. Buhari names railway stations after Awolowo, Tinubu, Saraki, Fashola, Jakonde, Soyinka, others, except except former President Obasanjo. So obviously everybody is saying, why would they remove former President Obasanjo?
Maybe the railway did not pass his farm.
What do you mean like that? Wole Soyinka's name was a station around the Abeokuta was named after Wole Soyinka. Even your grandmother made the list. Quite a number of people
in the village.
In that village.
If the railway did not pass
made the list, our VP made the list, and the whole of Obasanjo did not make the list.
It's a discretion.
That is worth for questioning.
We have Obasanjo farms now.
No, we're talking.
We have the library. I think those are
all you people are terrible. Please, I think it's the right thing for them to actually put the former president, even Enahoro, later Enahoro.
They did not name anything for Enahoro before.
What
if you name the list after my grandmother, does it bring food to the table? Does it stop that they burnt Kalakuta?
Anyways,
and they didn't give us compensation.
To go on a break. When we come back, we discuss this issue of the third Mainland Bridge closure. Waike was in that traffic today. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So since last week, Friday, the third Mainland Bridge has been on partial shutdown for maintenance work. According to reports, the bridge is arguably the busiest in Africa. However, Lagosians plying the roads are beginning to react to the massive traffic caused by the partial closure. We'd like Nigerians to call us this morning. Let us know your experience, especially for yesterday. Yesterday was the first time many Nigerians had to go that route to the island. You can call us on 070-806-68014. You can also tweet us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YoVTVC so we can read your tweets. I'll start with Waike because Waike just, you passed there today. And what did you observe? Because remember the commissioner told us that there'll be lots of personnel on the roads and everything will be safe. So let's hear your own experience.
I left early. Normally, when I'm coming from Lekki, I leave maybe 7:15, 7:10, and I get here before 8. Today, I left after 6. I said, because of the lockdown of the bridge, let me leave at after 6. I got here after 8. I think 8:30 to 9.
You got it for 8:30.
8:30 to 9.
Ido, totally blocked. Now, and I kept on looking because I was on the phone with my partner. There were no policemen. No LASMA, no LNSC, nobody.
From where to where?
From when you come down the bridge, the Kata Bridge, towards Ido, that place, right from there till Third Mainland, where you turn into Third Mainland Bridge, that was where there were about 10 or 15 of them there. And I was looking.
So they are all waiting for you to come to there.
Yes.
So that we spread out.
Spread out.
Clearing the traffic.
Clearing the traffic, because what is happening is everybody is pushing the downforce. They are doing their own show. They're doing their own show, and they will come in front of your car. They don't care. Look, it took me 2 hours. I've never. Well, this is how I was. I was dying to use the bathroom. I say, hey, today is today. And then you will be scared because there are so many men around, and. Hey,
I was yesterday that some people got their windows smashed. Some people got robbed yesterday, and that's the feedback we want to give to the government.
We discussed it with the commissioner when we talked about congestion. In fact, when we talked with the commissioner of police, I gave an example of almost being robbed the day before. This morning when I woke up at 2 a.m., I done the check map to see which area had obstructions that I would avoid. And he kept saying, go to Third Mainland. I was like, which Third Mainland? The one that they are blocked or which one? So I just stubbornly decided to go through Oshodi, and amazingly, it was free up until Antonio, because I expect that they're still working on the other end. And I turned off and came into Ikorodu Road. We'd expect that those areas that YK mentioned is not what these last mile guys are doing. What they're doing at Adekunle is that they're waiting for you to miss the traffic light. You turn and miss the traffic light, there's no begging. They will tell you to pay or take you to their yard in Mori. That's what they do there. Rather than spread through the expanse of the road up to where the diversion is, and make sure that
so from the pictures we are seeing, Nima, it seems that they've gotten the diversion right. There's orderliness in how you go into Third Mainland Bridge. But the issue Nigerians are saying right now is that the fear of hoodlums attacking us while in traffic, approaching the Third Mainland Bridge.
That one is standard. You see that Ido place. I don't even know if I will pass there tomorrow, when I'm on the show next, because I was actually scared. To be fair to them, nobody attacked anybody. They didn't steal, or they didn't see anything like that. It doesn't happen today. But you are just there. There's no
sense of security.
And the traffic is bad. Bad. You are going at 1 meter, 1 inch per 10 minutes.
Yeah, right.
I'm looking on Twitter to see if some of our viewers will share their experience. But these are some of the things that we'll talk about. And it's good that you're mentioning it here. I hope that the Commissioner of Police is watching so that
he deploys... For Transportation, because he assured us that they'll be on top of it.
In fact, the MD of LASMA, I must commend LASMA because I see their work in some areas. And as the PS of the environment mentioned, they're actually working at the Lagos Lasu Sherry Road. That spot he mentioned, the website, they're working there, but there's no proper control of traffic. It happened on Sunday. My auntie was coming to see the family, and she saw LASMA at the end of the traffic. So they must have them spread. They are there, but let them be doing what they're supposed to be doing there. Right. So spread alongside the traffic. As soon as one car is parking anyhow, worsening the condition of passerby, make sure they leave that spot, especially the yellow buses. Right. Make sure that they leave. And this they are
answer the phone call first.
Hassan, are you there? Thanks for calling.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. Go ahead, please.
Lagos State Government, Nigerian Police, Federal Road Safety should be up and doing. Yesterday, it was hectic. Even when there was no closure of Third Mainland Bridge, the problem is all over. Lagos State Government, they allowed all these bonded terminals all over Lagos. If you go down to Festac, it's a hell. If you come down to Orile, it's a hell. Talk less of Papa. Nobody is doing his job. They should be up and doing. Now, with this closure of Third Mainland Bridge, don't even try coming to Lagos Island. Don't try going out of Lagos Island. Don't try anything in Lagos. They are telling us that they are doing some repairs, they are doing that. That's why it's not measuring up. They should go to the root cause. The last man should go back to the drawing board. The Federal Road Safety should go back to the drawing board. Nigerian Port Authority should go back to the drawing board. Enough is enough of giving us excuses. The traffic is much. Good morning.
Okay.
Good morning.
Thank you very much.
So Hassan is correct, and I wanted to talk about the terminal, the new one at Mile 2 bus stop. So when Lagos State was clearing the bus stop of the parks, I thought they were going to put up maybe a BRT proper station and everything, but apparently it had been sold to a bonded terminal, and now that bonded terminal has caused trucks to park from Mile 2 all the way to Alakija. They're just on the road waiting to get to the terminal, and they've not completed construction. So anytime you are licensing and commercializing, there must be that balance. People must feel that their lives are beyond money. Imagine somebody sitting in traffic, and one of Federal Safety guy was complaining to one source, said to me, he said, Nima, I have pity for you. You're not concerned about your body. When you get to a certain age, you will see what you are doing to your body. Driving in traffic all day, every day of the week can kill somebody. So there must be that value to life in every commercialization that is happening around us. We can't continue to abandon people.
There are quite a few factors that's causing this, though. But let me take this, Sonny. Sonny, are you there? Thanks for calling.
Yes, I'm here. I'm not happy with the way the state is handling projects.
Okay.
They are on all the road repair at the same time.
At the same time.
If you go and dig the lagoon then, what is going on in this country? Every time, tailment bridge, every time, tailment bridge, every time, people are suffering. Before they do this, it should be at the time where the roads are okay. I'm not happy about it too, because the way they are handling all the road projects at the same time, do they expect us to fly on air? It's not fair. That's what I have to say.
There's a tweet.
Okay, let's take a bit more tweet.
You see, if I understand his...
We'll be the Nigerians complaining they don't do anything.
I know, I understand his feelings, his plight. But, and I understand that the government has to do the roads. Yeah, listen, if you are going to do the roads, this is where palliatives come in. And I'm not saying palliative of money or food. I'm saying the roads. If you want to know you are doing the road, make sure that you have enough personnel.
Alternatives. They even create alternative routes.
They said there are alternative routes. Put them there so that you are moving the traffic
faster than...
If you are not there for longer than half an hour,
yes, no.
What is you stay there for 2 hours?
So Third Mainland Bridge actually is free, based on the pictures we're seeing, YK. They are free. It's just approaching Third Mainland Bridge is the issue. And the fact that we don't have enough security personnel making sure that there's free flow. Because the downforce are doing their own, the cars, everybody's trying to go at the same time.
Like that roads to Third Mainland Bridge from Ido, there are many roads.
Yes. And
so cars are coming in
from like 5 different points, and you're now all meeting at one point.
Exactly. And if the last month officials or
FRS,
because this is even a federal project. It's the federal government that is not Lagos State now. They should be at all those points directing traffic, because we know that our people, we don't hear words too. So be there, direct them, make it, I mean, you'll just be in one spot thinking.
I have the general manager, Lasma, on the phone, Engineer Jide Uduyoye. Good morning, sir. Are you there?
Yes, I am. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Have you this morning. So, I mean, obviously, you've heard our lamentations in the last few minutes. Could you give us an update on what you're doing to ensure that your men are well spread out across the roads?
Well, we're not doing anything different from what we started on Friday night, over the weekend and yesterday. We're all over the place. We're at the intersections, at Madekule intersection, we're at the Ilupiri end, at the Adeniki end. We're at Apapa, we're at Costain, Surulere, Stadium, Barracks, Ujuelegba, Ido. Patrol vehicles are going along there, but Macaulay, to make sure that the Wimbo market, their customers are not obstructing traffic flow. We're working with NURTW to put their men in check, to make sure that their activities are not obstructing the alternative routes that have been identified, especially for those coming from the island, coming down to the mainland. And we also got vehicles tow vehicles on the place, so when vehicles are broken down for whatever reason, we're able to assist them. Yesterday, I noticed a whole lot of our vehicles that we were helping to push from when they broke down. And these are the activities that were there. FRS is there with us. Neighborhood watch is there controlling traffic. Civil defense are there to provide security support.
Right.
And the police are on ground largely. And that is what is there. So,
Mr. Uyoye. Yeah, you said you have them at the intersections. Like me coming from Ido, I saw them at Adekunle by the bridge.
The ramp.
Just before you climb on top of the bridge. That's the only place where I saw them. The traffic was not there. The traffic was behind. Why are they not there to ensure that there is smooth flow of traffic? Because when they are at the intersection, they're not dealing with the problem. They're dealing with the problem after the...
What time of the day, YK?
Sorry, and what time of day and what section of the road around that area are you talking about?
I was on that road. I was on that road from before 7 till after 8.
No, sorry. What time? Is it 7 in the morning?
7 in the morning, yes.
This morning, before she came to work this morning.
I was almost late. I was almost late to the studio this morning.
Oh, this morning?
Yes.
So which road? Murtala Mohammed, I need to have an understanding of which road are you referring to?
The road, the Mainland Hotel Road. That road.
Okay, Ido.
Yes. The traffic to Third Mainland there was terrible.
No. Sorry, that is about Macaulay, though, not Murtala Mohammed.
I didn't say it was Murtala Mohammed.
I Mainland Hotel.
Mainland Hotel.
You wanted to link the Third Mainland Bridge.
Yes,
exactly.
From Adekunle.
Yes.
Yes.
And you had problems turning into Third Mainland Bridge.
Okay, let me explain it. Yes. Sir, Engineer Jide, this is the situation. She was coming through Ido. Her issue is the fact that there was quite a bit of traffic and your men were concentrated at the tail end of Third Mainland Bridge. She's asking that why are they not spread out all the way to ensure free flow and people, so that the people can feel safe? Because there were reports yesterday that some people actually had they were attacked or armed robbery attacked or smashed their windscreens, and that was yesterday. So she's asking that why, instead of your men being concentrated in one point, why can't they have them spread across so that people can feel safe and they can ensure free flow of traffic, yes.
Okay, let us break it down. I will look at that.
Okay.
But let us break it down properly.
Okay.
The access from Ido towards Oyinbo, going to Adekunle to join the Third Mainland Bridge, is a 2-lane, one-way system.
Right.
Which means at that axis, you don't have that many intersections. Now, the intersections that are there by, what's the name of that road now? There's one intersection. Men are there all the time. Now, if the report comes in, and this is where we all in this together, pictures and observation needs to be taken so that we can deal with it. Because don't forget, you can get to an area, don't see an officer on the road, and it could be, or they could be around the corner helping to push a broken down vehicle. They could have arrested a vehicle that has parked stubbornly on the road, and they would have to take it away. These are all traffic management actions.
Okay.
It depends on what is going on. And if there is traffic, it probably more than likely means is the volume of traffic on that road at that time, rather than an impediment. It is not the fault of any enforcement officer.
Right.
Now, they will more than likely be stationed at the intersection with Adekunle because it is a choke point.
Right.
There are about 3-4 turning movements at that place.
Right.
And that is more than likely where people would want to misbehave. When people misbehave, you need enough officers to sort it out.
Right. Okay.
There are still public transportation people picking up at the junction. NRTW are working with us. So you need enough men to deal with a serious intersection rather than along a corridor that is a 2-lane, one-way system working.
We have to wrap up now.
Roads,
we have to.
There are many roads on that road where cars are coming in. There are many. There is Moloney Street. There are many. I can't even remember
University Road, because once you come in, that's where you come out into.
Before you get to Third Mainland, where there was delay there.
Unfortunately, I have to wrap up on this, Engineer Jide. I do understand that you look into it for us, and because YK is still going to give us feedback. I mean, she's on that axis anyway. But we'll try to get more feedback from you.
Well done for what you do anyway now.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate you joining us this morning. We're going to go on a break. When we come back, we'll move on to other topics. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So before we move on to the other next topic, let's take very few tweets before we run off. Nima.
Kehinde Nafi was talking to YK that, why not take on travel on waterways provided? I think that would salvage the traffic congestion on Third Mainland Bridge. But I do blame government for one thing. They should embark on construction and maintenance during total lockdown and not when people are working.
Emetov says, sorry, please, government should take into consideration the fact that the 10 p.m. lockdown can't work again. The police had a field pulse yesterday.
Yes. So Miriam Oguyemi had your experience. Okay. It was crazy yesterday. I spent 2 hours, 15 minutes between Ondo streets and Ebute Meta and Alagomeji, something that's just 5 minutes drive at most. To worsen it, the road linking Old Yaba Road to Kwanti Police Station was blocked. Right. The alternative route was, which was streets, was Molonade. So and she suggested that
we have to. So the traffic is a menace. And that's why Shari Road around General Hospital is a sham.
Okay, we have. So it's good that we give them feedback so they understand. I'm sure they're going to work on it. But moving on now, we have a COVID-19 survivor who happens to be the Honorable Commissioner for Information in Delta State, Mr. Charles Anyagu. He'll be sharing with us his story on how he contracted it and what he did to treat himself. Welcome with us, the Honorable Commissioner for Information at Delta State.
Thank you very much, my sister, and I must appreciate the good work you are doing in TVC.
Thank you, sir. So you contracted the virus. Were you able to trace how that happened?
Well, at the level we are now, nobody can easily say this is where he contracted the virus, because to a very large extent it has gone into community transmission.
Yes.
It's unlike at the beginning in February, March, somebody will ask you, which part of the world did you travel to? From which part of the world they started asking you, did you travel to Lagos or Abuja? That at the initial time was seen as the epicenter, though at the moment Lagos still maintained that particular unenviable position. And so over time, the virus moved to almost every other part of the country. And so if you are in a place like Delta, nobody will ask you whether you travel to Abuja or Lagos, because it's already here with us.
Right.
And the moment you can no longer trace who you had contact with, so that you can say, okay, because you met with this person, then of course it means you are not able to identify who must have been the source of you contracting the virus. So at that moment, it becomes the medical people refer it as community transmission.
Right.
So that for me was what will happen.
Honorable, you are my colleague now in surviving the COVID, the virus.
So you mean you tested the thing too?
So I wanted you to talk, because a lot of people came on my page and said they got paid by government to promote the virus they don't believe exists. I wanted you to share what it was like dealing with it.
Somebody even asked me that very funny question, a friend of mine. And when he saw it maybe in some of the news media about the fact that I and the SSG contracted the virus, and he called me and said, please, how much did they pay you? And I asked him, I said, you've known me for quite a while. How much do you think you will pay me?
I even asked how
just
much
by himself. He now said, no, that's true, that's true. Because if you are going to pay somebody, there are those you pay, if you give them maybe 1 million, they will be dancing. And where will you even get the 1 million from? So it's actually quite laughable for individuals to think that they need to pay somebody for you to say that you have a COVID-19.
So I wanted you to share what the symptoms were like for you. What did you go through? How was it like?
Well, for me, mine was somehow on the mild side, but even at that, I can tell you authoritatively that it's different from the malaria people are talking about. Good enough for a very long time. We all at one time or the other suffer malaria, and we know the difference. You know that malaria, because we are used to self-medication in this part of the world, you can just go across the counter and tell them to give you any of the malaria drugs. And then by the time you take it 2 or 3 days, you are back to duty. But that is not the same thing with COVID-19, because even when you continue to treat malaria, because some persons, it comes in form of fever, and so you suspect that it's malaria. But you discover that you will treat it, it doesn't go. In my own case, I had thought that I was just going to do, because there was a lot of fear amongst people to present themselves for tests, particularly even those who are sick. And I said, okay, since I was not feeling anything, let me go and take the test, hoping that it will even be negative, so that I can tell people there's no big deal, go and test it, I've done mine. But I haven't gone for the test, and in less than 24 hours, I discovered that I have lost my sense of smell. I say, hey, there's something wrong then. And another 24 hours when the result came out, it turned out to be positive. And so I made myself available to the medical doctors and some other health personnel who advised me. They were able to examine if I was capable of self-isolating in my home and being treated at home, and it was obvious that that can happen, since I wasn't staying with my family here in Asaba. And so along the line, a lot of medication were prescribed, and I ensured that I maintained the routine as advised by the medical practitioners. And by the grace of God, along the line, I went back after about 16 days for another test, and it turned out negative, and I give God the glory.
I want to ask you, what would you say, because this, it doesn't exist. I've been facing it a lot. I know it exists. What would you tell the people? What would you advise people who keep saying it doesn't exist, it's government trying to chop money? What advice would you give them?
Well, there are, first of all, let's look at the reasons why individuals may feel it doesn't exist. Of course, you know that in this part of the world, there has been a lot of mistrust or lack of trust between the government and the governed, and you all do understand why that is the case. Because over time, governments have promised what they are going to do for the people, and then at the end of the day, the people hardly see those things coming to fruition. So whenever government says it's going to do it, they just say it's political talk. And because of that, and you see government being the one leading the campaign, so individuals still believe that it's still the normal thing. But it's different from being the normal thing. They need to believe that COVID-19 is real and that government is doing all it can in the circumstance to see that they flatten the curve now that it's here with us. But unfortunately, you do also understand that because we did not make hay while the sun was shining, it's not now possible for you to now feed your whatever kind of animal that you are trying to maintain in form of animal husbandry. How do I mean? If before now the country has prepared for emergencies such as this, it would have been easy that when we said we are locking down, to provide certain forms of palliatives that would last the people much longer. And if that happened, it would have been easier to deal with the issue of the pull and the pull factor. Pull in terms of what is pulling them to come and meet their daily needs, and then push in terms of you asking them to forget about that daily need and then stay at home. You recall that at that time where we even had some measure of lockdown, the spread wasn't as much as it is now. And I would just do hope that now that by the grace of God, the medical practitioners are beginning to understand the different strains much more than they were at the beginning, that we will begin to find at least a space to flatten the curve, and at the end of the day, by the grace of God, return to our normal life. What's happening now, they say the new normal. The new normal is not exciting at all.
Right.
But people need to meet government halfway. If government says don't do this, don't leave issue of whether you didn't trust government before.
Now,
know that
I need to ask
it
you
is
this
in the
question,
interest
sir.
of each and every one of us to observe those protocols.
Did you use only what was prescribed by the doctors, or were you using some home remedies to support that? Because quite a lot of people feel that sense of loss of smell, and they suspect, but they don't want to get tested. They just want to treat it at home. Would you advise people to get tested, or just find out home remedies to get themselves healed completely?
Self-medication cannot be an option in the case of COVID-19. The reason is this. Different individuals have different body type and then, of course, a different health situation. If you say because, number one, that the particular drug is administered to Mr. A, and then since you feel that you are having the same symptoms, you go and take the same type of drugs, that could be injurious because you may not know whether Mr. A has a system that is not riddled with some comorbidity, that is some form of pre-existing health condition. And so, if you take, for instance, somebody who has acute ulcer, and then I now tell you that when I had my challenge, as part of effort to keep the respiratory tract clean and then free, that I was asked to take very spicy and hot pepper soup. Can you also take the same? Now, if you also have certain kidney challenge, is it possible that you take the same drug with a man who does not have such challenge? And so it's not the right thing to do when people say, no, don't worry, go and take Abu, go and take this combination. Whatever thing you are going to do, it is important that the medical personnel gets involved so that they are first of all able to examine you to know that if you do know, a number of drugs is usually written that if symptoms persist after 2 days, consult a physician. In which case, it is possible some other ones, there could be contraindication that you are taking it and then it's now even causing more trouble for you than the problem you think you are trying to solve. But it's only the medical personnel that could subject you to one test or the other and is able to advise what you should take. So it is not advisable for people to just sit down at home and begin to take all sorts of combination. It is the doctors who will tell you, yes, you can take this and this. That if you have taken this orthodox drug, that you can also maybe mix it with some of these organic drug coming from traditional system. But without that kind of advice, I don't think it's advisable and reasonable for anybody to proceed to begin to take all sorts of concussion because you may end up causing more harm to yourself.
Okay.
It is possible that one person did it and it works for him, but that may not be the case for every other person. And so it's not advisable for anybody to just sit down at home and begin to treat himself or herself.
Okay. Did you take any herbs when you were ill? Did you take any herbs?
Well, I can say yes, but that was also subject to the advice of medical practitioners because ginger, garlic, turmeric, those are herbs. They are not the normal one that is already processed, the other processed drugs. So when you take them or you even take lemon in your tea, it's assumed you are also taking herbs because these are also things from plants.
Right.
And so when you do that, you can say, yes, there are mixtures. But those ones also have their role in terms of helping you to build your immunity and then also helping you to combat certain tendencies that may arise on account of the virus. And so the doctors will even tell you, okay, you take this, make sure you are taking this, but make sure you are taking this. But the idea of going to bring another concussion and then say you have a dogoyaro, you have this, everybody became doctor because of COVID-19. Some persons will read one thing on Facebook, and that is what they are going to ask you, okay, I read about this, they are prescribing, without knowing that you are not dealing with a car, you are dealing with the human system. And the human system is quite complex. So if you just feel because you have read about some combination on Facebook or in the social media, and then you are recommending same to somebody that you've not diagnosed to know how his or her body type is, whether he has pre-existing condition that may not sit well with those drugs you are recommending. So I do advise that if you feel any of the symptoms that have been well publicized that have to do with COVID-19, the best thing is you present yourself for test. And if you are tested and it is positive, listen to the medical personnel that will advise you, and not what you are reading on Facebook. That it works for A does not mean that it will work for B. And oftentimes, it will not work for many people. So rather than people having to die on account of their carelessness, I think it pays them to take advantage of the advice of medical personnel.
All right, sir.
Where would expect that Nigerians will find it easy to walk into the centers and have themselves tested. How is the response in Delta State? Because I'll be surprised to see if Delta is different from Lagos, that people are willingly walking into the centers for testing. How often do you see people come? What's the numbers like?
Well, let me admit that at the beginning it wasn't easy because we didn't have so many facilities to carry that out in terms of testing. And so at the beginning it was not easy for you to just walk in and immediately you get tested and then you come out. But over time, health personnel and the government was able to find a way around it such that we now have more than one testing center. At least we can test in more than 4 places, while the result is brought to a central point in Asaba for the purpose of subjecting it to clinical analysis. But in terms of taking the sample and then bringing it down, they can do that in a number of places. And then we're able, through our sensitization, able to also reduce the myth around COVID-19, so people gain some level of confidence. That fear of saying, no, I don't want to test, so that they don't say that I have COVID-19. And we kept telling them, it is not the test that gives you COVID-19. And there is no need to continue to live like the ostrich or to live in denial. If you don't have it and you go for a test, it will still read negative. If you have it and it reads positive, it gives you an advantage to start treatment immediately. Because early reporting is very, very vital for the treatment. So that if you just sit at home and say, no, I don't want to go and test, so that they don't say I'm positive, it is not they that say you are positive. If you are positive, you're already positive even before coming for the test. And so over time, a number of individuals realize that it's the right thing to do, because even those who you may call the elites, we are among those who said, no, I don't want to go for tests. Instead, let me just sit at home and begin to take this drug. Because of that stigmatization they were seeing around. And I was wondering why anybody would want to stigmatize anybody on account of a virus that is not 100% within your control. It's not like HIV. And even if it's HIV, there is nothing that the man who contracted HIV is doing that any other person didn't do. It's just unfortunate that the person contracted the HIV. But you know, in this part of the world, we just try to play the ostrich and then live in denial. What if something happened to somebody, every other person wants to behave as if it couldn't have happened to them. Meanwhile, they have done worse things than the person who is suffering that particular thing. So over time, people gain that confidence, and then at the time, you saw that our number was going up because much more number of people were presenting themselves for test. But at this moment, the curve is coming down because when they did that, we made sure that we were able to ramp up all the different contacts that they had. And
unfortunately, we have to wrap up now, sir.
Also to present themselves for testing. Though at a time, some of them, they will come and present a different phone number and a different name, still part of the fear. But with time, people started realizing that there is no need to go that way.
Thank you very much.
Right now, we are optimistic that our number will continue to go down, and by the grace of God, we'll get out of it.
Thank you very much, Honorable Commissioner. We're speaking with the Honorable Commissioner in Delta State, Mr. Charles Anyagu. He was sharing with us his COVID-19 survivor story. Let's go on a break. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So it's Tuesday. Thanks for staying with us. So it's Tuesday. We always have to talk about some form of health. So according to reports, worldwide 290 million people are living with viral hepatitis unaware. Without finding the undiagnosed and linking them to care, millions will continue to suffer and lives will be lost. In commemorating World Hepatitis Day, which is today, we have a pharmacist and head vaccine sales and strategy, Emzo Vaccines, Dr. Chukwu Ekwe. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Ekwe.
To you this morning.
Good to have you on the show. So tell us a bit about hepatitis, for those who have no idea what it is. When we hear hepatitis, we think of the liver, but we're not sure. Could you just tell us exactly what it is?
Okay, in a layman's language, hepatitis simply means inflammation of the liver. And that inflammation could be due to so many reasons. It could be due to excessive alcohol intake. It could be due to drugs, but most especially, it could be due to a viral agent. So any inflammation of the liver is what we refer to hepatitis. It's just hepa has to do with hepatitis, has to do with inflammation. So that's what it simply means.
Okay, according to what we know, hepatitis is largely like the HIV virus. Which of the strains, is it the A, B, C, or D? Which one is terminal? Which one is curable? Which one is without drug cure? Okay, like you just pointed out, we have different types of viral agents that cause hepatitis. We have the A, B, C, D, E, and of late there is E, but there's little information on that. Now, if you come to these various agents, A and E are the ones that are not so chronic in nature. When I mean chronic, it doesn't stay in the liver for a long time. And but if you come to the most important one is hepatitis B, which from WHO side, over 2 billion people are infected with hepatitis B. And over 350 million people, rather, are infected with hepatitis C. Now, hepatitis B, C, and D actually are the ones that are most important. And the B is the one that leads to chronic liver disease. C also leads to chronic liver disease, and D also leads to chronic liver disease.
Can you get hepatitis B if you don't drink?
Oh, sure, you can, because apart from drinking, which is just part of it is caused by excessive consumption of alcohol, hepatitis B actually is caused by the virus, hepatitis B virus, and it can be picked up from body fluids or from blood. So just like the AIDS virus that people can pick due to sex or use of blood products or instruments that can pierce the body. All these things are what actually could cause one to pick up hepatitis B virus.
So let's talk about other forms of spreading the hepatitis virus. What are the other methods of spreading? Okay,
apart from the sexual means of spreading and blood, also a child can pick it from the mother. That we call the mother-to-child transmission. And when people also share sharp instruments like needles, they can also pick it. So anything that has to do with blood or body fluid, once somebody positive of hepatitis B has a contact with the next person, either through blood fluid or body fluid or sharp needle or any sharp object, the person can actually pick it. Like you said earlier, you said that it's actually much more infectious than the AIDS virus, like 50 to 100 times much more infectious because the virus has the ability to stay on the surface for more than a month and still be active, unlike the AIDS virus that after a short while, it gets inactivated. But this virus is very, very contagious, can stay on a surface and after like a month, and then somebody can actually pick it up. Hello?
Now, there are some people that have no idea what we're talking about, especially when you say inflammation of the liver. There are some of our viewers that don't even know what that means. If your liver is inflamed, what does it mean? They hear people traveling to India for kidney transplants, so they can't tell the difference between kidney and liver. So could you just give us that simple description so we can have an understanding?
Okay, the liver actually is the biggest organ in the body, and it helps in removing poisonous things from the body. Like when somebody takes drug, the liver will help in breaking it down, take the good part that will deal with the healing, and the part of drug that is not useful, which we call metabolite, the liver will help to remove it. We call it detoxification. Now, when the liver, in the process of working, trying to detoxify or remove poison from the body, sometimes it passes through the kidney, somebody will urinate and it passes out. After a while, if there is an infection by the hepatitis B virus or C virus or D virus.
Doctor, are you still there? Okay, it's frozen. Let's go on a quick break. We'll come back to him. Hopefully he'll be back by then. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. Doctor, are you still there? Dr. Chukwu, are you still there?
Yeah, it's pharmacist, actually.
Yeah,
sorry,
pharmacist. Yes, I'm here, yeah.
So before the break, you were answering the question?
No, he was answering my question on spread.
No, I think it was liver.
Yes.
I was asking about liver.
Okay, you had moved on to liver.
So anyway,
They're asking me what inflammation meant.
Right.
Okay, can you?
Yeah, and I'm saying in a layman's language, it just means that the liver is swollen beyond its normal size and may not perform the function of the liver very well. So we call it inflammation, swelling of the liver.
Is there a possibility of vaccines now existing for this? And how do people get it?
Okay, now, there is vaccine available, hepatitis B vaccine, which has been available since 1982 globally, but it came into Nigeria in 1995, and it's part of immunization for children. The children actually have access to it within the country, but the adults do not have access to it. Hello?
At what age do children get that vaccine? I'm just hearing about it.
Okay, the children can get it from birth. They take the first dose at birth, and they take the second dose the 6th, the 10th, and the 14th week. Okay, but children who were born beyond 1995, I'm sure that, children who were born before them, rather, they didn't have access to this vaccine, so they may need to buy it. So it's actually in the market, and it's a very affordable vaccine, hepatitis B vaccine.
Okay, normally so you can take it at any age?
Hello?
So it can be taken at any age?
Exactly, for those who have not taken it, yes. But before they take it, they need to be screened to make sure that they are negative.
Okay, so go ahead, Wake.
Yeah, I was going to ask, is there any treatment for any drug you can take for hepatitis? Because what
yes.
I thought is that you just stop doing whatever you're doing and rest.
Well, when the hepatitis becomes chronic means that it's been there for more than 6 months and it has affected the liver. Mm-hmm. Somebody needs to see a specialist, the gastroenterologist and the hepatologist. Mm-hmm. They will give the person antivirals that could help. Okay, but prevention is better than cure. So for the hepatitis B that has the vaccine, it's better somebody should screen and take the vaccine. But hepatitis C currently doesn't have a vaccine, so that one has to be treated with antivirals, and the specialists handle that.
Now, what are the symptoms we should look out for? Because in Nigeria, once you have a fever, they treat you for malaria. Before you arrive at hepatitis, in fact, it might take weeks.
Mm-hmm. You'll be dead. So,
what are the symptoms?
Typhoid and malaria.
How do you tell your doctor you think you might have hepatitis, or how is it diagnosed also when you go to the hospital?
Usually, the symptoms sometimes, it may just come like malaria symptoms, and that is why people miss it. They keep treating malaria or typhoid, but the feeling of unwellness remains there. It is time for them to check it, because sometimes it could just be that the urine is not the usual color, the urine is getting darker. Sometimes also you can see when it begins to advance, yellowness of the eyes, okay? But most times this thing can go on without symptoms. We say it's asymptomatic most times. So the best thing actually is for the person to, first of all, go for a test. When somebody is having malaria and typhoid and the thing is not resolving, the person needs to go for a test. So these things, it's not too clear, but the person may just feel weak, the person may just feel run some fever, yellowness of the eyes. Sometimes when it begins to advance, that's when you begin to see the yellowness. So it's only when they go to the hospital or the lab and they run tests, then they find out that the test is reactive to this virus. So the best, everybody should actually run a test to know their status for hepatitis B and also hepatitis C. These are the ones that are very...
Is there an age limit? Like, can you have it when you're... Can you not have it when you're a certain age? Maybe in like 60s, 70s, can you not have it, or can you just have it anytime?
Yeah, but like I said, how does somebody pick it? If somebody takes a blood product that is contaminated with any of these viruses, okay, the person can pick it at any age. So there's no age limit to it, because if someone is exposed to an unsafe sex with a partner that has it, the person also will pick it up. So there's no age limit. So apart from those who have had the vaccine, everybody is at risk of picking it somehow or the other from anything. So the best thing is prevention, to take the vaccine and stay protected.
Right. Okay.
I wanted to ask, do you know what the difference between jaundice and hepatitis is? Because jaundice, you have yellow eyes. Hepatitis, you get yellow eyes. So what's the difference? And does jaundice affect the liver as well?
Well, sometimes it's difficult to know what the difference is until they run a test. So just looking at it physically, you may not be able to differentiate. But, sometimes children, when you give birth to children, due to some reason, let's say the mother took some anti-malaria late into the pregnancy, the child may have it, but it clears with time. That is different. So that is why you will need a diagnosis, proper diagnosis after they've gone to the lab to actually say this is jaundice, which is just ordinary due to any other reason, and the one that is actually caused by the virus. So without a definitive test, it may be difficult for you to look at it and say, this is this, this is that. So,
Mr. Chuk, let me ask a stupid question. Of course, you said the virus can stay up to a month on surfaces. I read somewhere, someone started a chat that, using public toilets exposes us to hepatitis. How true is that?
Well, hepatitis A and hepatitis E, we say it could be, it's fecal oral. Fecal oral means that one can actually ingest it from what one eats. So I'm wondering how the person will pick it because it has to pass, through the mouth first from what one is. So let's say somebody uses the toilet and the person doesn't wash his hand. Most time we buy all these fruits on the road, watermelon and the rest of them. Okay, and the people that sell them. I'm wondering how hygienic they are.
But not by sitting on a toilet. Not by sitting on a toilet. But by what you pick with your hands.
I've not seen any study saying by sitting on a toilet, one can pick it. But by eating with an unwashed hand, one can pick hepatitis A. If you eat food with an unwashed hand, and maybe someone with hepatitis A has touched the food or the toilet seat and you didn't wash your hand, one can pick hepatitis A or E. But for B, C, and D, it's not just by going to toilet. There has to be a blood fluid or blood product entering the person.
Okay, let me ask another stupid question. There was a report I read that it's not a good thing to eat liver, cow liver, because of things like this. There are impurities in the liver, that because of the work the liver does in the body, and there's no fried rice without liver. So, I mean, liver is like the heart of
my fried rice,
fantastic fried rice. So somebody was not telling me not to cook liver again. That it's not good. Do you agree? Is that advisable, or do you think you can boil the impurities out of the liver?
I'm sure when you boil your liver very well, it should be safe for you to eat. I've not seen any studies, actually. Everything is scientifically proven. If there's a study saying that, then we can believe it. But if there's no study, then it's a hearsay. Yes. So until it's established scientifically that when you boil your liver properly and take it, you pick it up. Now, and it's just a hearsay. No such thing as scientifically, as far as I know, as of this morning. Maybe there may be need for more studies to find out that, More studies to find out that,
Which hepatitis is the most dangerous? Is it B, C, or D?
Okay, now I'll answer it two ways. When it comes to the one that is, the people get most infected by B, like I said, 2 billion people worldwide get infected. Okay, but B has a vaccine that can prevent it.
Okay.
But hepatitis C, okay, that one is actually very, very dangerous because there is no vaccine for it. Okay? If you look at both of them are very important public health issues. But C is actually more dangerous than B. Both of them can lead to chronic liver diseases. But the number of people that come down with B is much more than those that come down with C. Like I say, worldwide, the number for hepatitis C stands at 350 million, but for the hepatitis B, 2 billion, according to the WHO. Right. So you see, so looking at it from both angles.
Right. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. We appreciate your thoughts on this issue on hepatitis. We'll be speaking with the pharmacist and head vaccine sales and strategy, Emzo Vaccines, Chukwu Ekwe. That's all we can take on the show today. Have a fabulous day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.